Good morning, Friday the 17th of September, and a beautiful day here in the East Midlands. Hope the sun is shining wherever you are in the world. So my name's Karen Curitin, and my business is called Curitin Consulting. And what do I do? If you've never joined me before, I work with businesses, individuals, and organisations to help them get results from social media activity. Good morning, and somebody's right on par this morning. So today is all about continuing last week's theme, which was questions you've always wanted to ask people. Good morning, Alona. Nice to see you here. And the truth is that there are so many questions people want to ask. Good morning, Martin, from lovely, beautiful, my favourite part of the world, Norfolk. Nice to have you here. So when I was at an event a week and a half ago, one of the tasks that they did was we all put a list of questions that we would ask each other if we were allowed to just fire questions at. And I took mine and I printed them off because I thought this could be really interesting. But I'm going to first start with something that happened on Tuesday. So I hope you've had a successful week. I've had a really exciting week. Just booked my tickets for the Woman Who Awards. I'm so grateful to be a finalist. That's 2 weeks today. So I booked my tickets for that. It's going to be at Coombe Abbey, which will be beautiful. Just about to hit my target for my Loop the Loop. So next Wednesday, I am doing a Loop the Loop in aid of Alex's Wish. So that's super exciting. Hosted a networking coffee morning, Shay Curitin, here on Monday. And that was really good fun. And I think we raised about £150 on Monday. And I've now got a beautiful hamper donated by Barclays. So if anybody wants to buy any raffle tickets, just get in touch. If you're watching this on Catch Up, shameless plug, but it's for a fantastic cause. Alex's Wish is for a charity to raise funds to fight against Duchenne, which is an awful illness which affects young boys. But enough of that. So what happened on Tuesday was I was in my monthly mastermind group, which I find really useful. Thank you, Alona. So in the mastermind group, we bring our challenges to the table. And one of the newer members said, and they said, I thought this would be really useful to talk about today is how do I ensure that I get the best performance out when I outsource? Because one of the best tips I was ever given as a business owner was to make sure you outsource some of the elements of what you do. Otherwise, you will spend so much time working in your business that you're actually not growing it. And so turns out she is based in London. She is working with a digital marketing agency, and they are managing all of the elements of her marketing, including the social media side of it. So I said to her, well, they can only do as good a job as the brief you give them. And this applies to everything we do, everybody. If I'm going to start working with a client and I'm going to be running their social media for them, or one of my associates is, we have a 2-hour planning session. We're setting objectives. We're thinking about how is the client going to measure their return on investment, because that's critical. We want them to get value. There's an element of some of the stuff is an invisible piece of string because you don't know how long it's going to take to get results. And as I said to her, it's about setting your expectations. If you're fairly new to social media, at least 6 months to see some traction, if not longer. It's about setting your expectations. So I just thought I'd drop that in. But I thought I'd answer a few of the questions that came up or that I've got on my sheet. So somebody said one of the questions was, what do you like best about the services I provide? Well, I've got the blessing of running my own business, which is a blessing and a curse. In fact, I said to a business colleague the other day, the easy thing would be to go out and get a job and just be told what to do. I think I'm probably unemployable now, but hey. So what do I like best about the services I provide? Well, the reason I like all the services pretty much that I provide, in that a lot of my services have grown organically. So for example, we've just finished the 6-week summer club, which was a 6-week social media summer club where we had weekly check-ins, people getting content drip fed to them every week for 6 weeks. We had Q&As, we had some live learning sessions. So it was a very blended approach. Then there's my year-long program, Social Media for Grown-ups, which we're about getting ready to relaunch on Monday because I've completely re-recorded a huge chunk of content, something like 10 hours. Brand new Facebook ads module. I've invested a huge amount of time in it over the summer, and that is something that is completely like my baby, and that was created from the ground up. And that's what I love, is that I will organically be able to respond to what my clients want, or I aim to. So somebody said to me, do you cover all social media? Now, this is quite interesting because yesterday I hosted my last webinar of the year. And if anybody wants a recording of that, do get in touch, because we're going to do a proper recording of it, which we can send out to people. Really interesting, because when I did the webinar yesterday, I hosted the webinar, and excuse me, I just need to have a quick drink. And we were covering the principles, because my ethos around social media is slightly different, in that I believe there are 4 core principles, which are having a really great plan. And we haven't got time to go into that in great detail this morning, but a plan is, if you like, your roadmap. If I was going to visit Martin in Norfolk, and I know where I'm going, I've been going there for 22 years, but I would still put it in my sat nav because I would want to have an idea in case there's any problems along the way. And that's what a plan is about. It's having focus, direction, clarity of who you're targeting, but understanding about how you're going to measure, if you're doing it yourself or if you're outsourcing, how you're going to measure that return on investment. Who are you competing against? What's your differentiation? So that's the first element. That's, if you like, the foundations. Second element is engaging content, understanding what does great content look and sound like for your perfect client. And it came up in the questions yesterday, because just because what you think is interesting doesn't mean to say it's what your perfect client's interesting. And I'll come back to that in a second. Are you on the right platform? Are you using the right sort of imagery? Interesting enough, Facebook's just released some data that I was sharing with my clients on Wednesday, that the best performing posts on Facebook and on Instagram are lives. Next down from that is native video. It's a video that you've done, recorded while you're in Facebook. Next to that is Reels are coming on Facebook, and obviously Reels are already there on Instagram, though I've stayed very clear from them. And on LinkedIn, video, but a blend. So it's not just all video in your newsfeed. So content is your second layer. Your third layer is spending some time building your audience. And I'm working with a young business over in Derby at the minute, mentoring a member of their team. So what I do is, if they don't outsource their social media, I go in and train a member of their team to become their in-house ambassador. And I said to her, how do you grow your audience on LinkedIn? And she said, well, you just post regularly. No. We have to look for our perfect clients. We have to engage with them. We have to send them personalized connection requests. And most importantly, we don't sell to them. Somebody did it to me the other day, and it switches me off faster than any light switch. On Facebook, what we're doing to grow our audience on Facebook, there's lots of things that you can do to grow your audience on Facebook. Really interestingly, I put a post on my personal profile, excuse me, something I am trialing. And I engaged with somebody who I've not seen for 25 years. and they joined my webinar yesterday. So that's an interesting one. And then once you've spent some time building your audience, and this isn't a one-off thing, we should always be doing this, we need to then look at a conversion plan. And astonishingly, businesses large and small don't have conversion plans in place. So have you got a methodology in place to convert and take people from being likers, followers, connections, whatever you want them to be called, through to being clients? And for some people, that journey will be really fast. And for some people, that journey will take a long time. So I was sharing tips on these things yesterday's webinar and working around the steps to be fantastic on social media. And then in the Q&A at the end, there was a lady who used to be a member of my year-long program, and she's completed her year. And she asked about Pinterest. Now, because I know her business, she's a local retailer. It's a lovely business based in our beautiful market town of Ashby. And she said, well, I've been looking at Pinterest. I think it'd be a great way to sell my products. I said, okay, yeah, I love Pinterest. That's where I'm building pins for my she shed. But is that where your perfect customer hangs out? And her perfect customer is probably somebody over 60, I would guess, maybe some youngsters, but the demographic of her perfect customer, are they going to hang out on Pinterest? And she said, well, I don't know. So that's the thing is, as business owners, people who run social media for businesses, we need to understand where our perfect customers hang out. And what I'd encourage you all to do is, if you're not sure, why not do a questionnaire, do a poll on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever you hang out, or do an email marketing thing, asking people to complete a short survey to say, where do they hang out? Where do they spend the majority of their time on social media? Really important. So one of the other questions I was asked is, what are the key things to remember when you're posting on LinkedIn, and how can you make the platform work for you? Well, I give a lot of stuff for free on my Friday Live, so I'm not going to give you everything, but 3 things to remember. Write your content with your perfect customer in mind. What's going to be interesting and relevant to them? Be seen as that useful resource. Have an image that's going to be eye-catching, whether it's an on-brand image or whether it is something that you have created that's a bit different, maybe a photograph. Photographs of real people do phenomenally well on LinkedIn. A client of mine sent me a screen grab of her post. She's just moved jobs within the organization I'm supporting her in, and the amount of views that post had was huge. Real people. In fact, that photograph there, when I posted that 3 years ago after I won in my category at the Women's Awards, that had more views and comments than any post I've ever had. So, excuse me. So, photographs, think about the image, because if you think about, thank you. Good morning. Good morning, Martin. Nice to see you. So, first thing to remember about converting clients on LinkedIn: content to be interesting and relevant to your perfect client, not selling. Second thing, carefully consider the graphic that you're using. So is it eye-catching? Is it going to catch them? Because 85% of people view social media on their phones. So they're seeing it on their phones, they're scrolling through. It's not the text that's going to stop them in the tracks. It's going to be the graphic. Third thing to remember on LinkedIn is, when are you posting? Are you posting it at the time of day? And this is why everything comes back to the plan, everybody. Are you posting it at the time of day where the majority of your perfect clients are online? So, excuse me, very croaky today. So if you consider, if your perfect client is the mums of school age, primary school age children, then this time of day, they're not going to be active. I've got one client often has my lives playing on her phone. She's told me this, on the passenger seat when she's taking her kids to school. But if you want to have an engaged audience, you want to be posting, and if your perfect client is the mum of primary school age children, then I will be posting it maybe at 9:30 in the morning when they're most likely to be online. So consider that. So the timing of when you post, the content to be interesting and relevant, and the image to go there. To take that question further about how making the platform work for you, a big part of that is consistency, being present, having a content plan, having a real focus and direction, and building your audience. And then have that methodology, as I said earlier, about how you're going to take them from being a connection through to being a client, because some of it's all about timing, everybody. It really is. So that was one of the questions I got asked. But so this lady, just going back to this lady who has a shop, she was talking about setting up Pinterest, starting from nowhere with Pinterest. And she, I know, is very limited on the marketing time for her business. So the other tip I would share with you is, whether it's social media, whether it's email marketing, direct mail, put aside some time every week, block it out. That's the best advice I can give you. My old business coach used to say to me, every Monday for at least half a day, or find a day in the week that works for you when you can spend some time marketing your business. Because this is important. This is business growth. You can't just sit there and expect your pipeline to fill with wonderful clients. It takes time. And as I said earlier, some people go from A to Z really quickly. Other people will take a lot longer. And so we might know you for years, because ultimately what we're aspiring to do is to build those relationships, build know, like, and trust. And that's why ostensibly lives can work really well. I did a live 6 weeks ago on Instagram. Need to get going with Instagram lives again. And somebody that I know locally called me. Yes, somebody actually picked up the phone and rang me and said, Karen, I really need your help. So it was that fast, but she's known me for 2 years. But that live was the prompt. So the other question I had was, which social media platform is most difficult to work with? I think that's $1 million question. I think it depends on the individual person. I suppose for me personally, because I like to do everything on desktop, Instagram is probably not been my favorite, but in some ways it's the one I enjoy the most, because it's that sharing. What I like to do on my Instagram feed is share something of behind the scenes, and that's where Instagram can work really well. So people get an insight to you as a person. So at the weekend, we hosted a surprise party for my parents' diamond wedding anniversary, and I put that out there because it's a little bit about me and understanding who I am, because people are buying into the individual, not the name of the business. People are more likely to know your name than the name of your business, and you need to remember that. So where are we? Gosh, 8:20 already. So my last words to you is if you know anybody that this would be helpful, please share it with them. Please share it on your newsfeed, because I'm here to help. As you know, I turn up every Friday morning at 8 o'clock, and I'm here to help. And if you like YouTube, pop over there and subscribe, because if you subscribe on my channel, Curitin Consulting, you'll make sure you never miss it, because my lives are streamed automatically onto YouTube as well. If you have any questions, any topics that you'd like me to cover in future lives, please get in touch. And if you're watching on catch up, please pop replay in the comments. Have a fabulous Friday and a wonderful weekend, and I will see you this time next week. Take care.